Hi, I'm Jessie Ahmet, your host of Valley News Now, and I have these lovely ladies with me today from Pediatric Partners. Thank you guys for being with me today.
Yes, thanks for having us.
So we're going to be talking mostly about early intervention. Okay, and so I'm going to bring you over to the Facebook right away to show you some of the early intervention. Just a post they had. Actually, before I do that, maybe you could give just a quick explanation of what some of your early intervention services are.
Yeah.
Whoever would like to.
So early intervention is a program for 0 to 3-year-olds, and we do all of the services in the home.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It's wonderful, very convenient for families. We're kind of educators, supporters, and we guide families on the development of their children so that the whole family can be successful.
Oh, I love that.
Yes, that's why we're all here, is because we love it too.
Yeah.
Well, because as a new mom, you're like, I mean, it is not hard, minor, big, but to go back to those days, and each kid is totally different too. And like we were saying before, you only know what you know what your knowledge base is, what maybe your mom tells you, your friends tell you. So to have an expert come into your home, observe the child where they are, so you get a really good grasp. That's what really drew me in. It was. The one time I brought my son in somewhere, it was like, well, yeah, everything's unfamiliar. They don't do the same things that they do at home.
Right.
Yeah. So you come to the home, and that evaluation is no cost.
Right.
Correct.
Wow.
Correct.
Okay, I'm glad I was right about that.
Yes.
No, all early intervention services are free. So even
Oh,
if
wow.
a family gets evaluated, they qualify for early intervention. Every single visit that we do is a free service for that family.
Oh my goodness. And that's like, you don't have to qualify. It just is free. I mean, you qualify like if you need the service, but you don't have to qualify
For
like for
financial.
financial.
Correct.
Wow, okay, that's huge. I feel like a lot of people probably use that as a reason maybe they don't call. I mean,
Correct.
because you always think, oh, therapy is so expensive. So early intervention, 0 to 3. So how young of kids do you see?
Honestly,
In the NICU, we get referrals from babies in the NICU.
Really?
We don't start services obviously until they're home. But if we have some automatic qualifiers that automatically get them into our program,
Right.
and so we get their information while they're still in the hospital, so then we
Wow.
can start kind of assisting them once they get home and kind of just monitoring them from there.
So what kinds of things, obviously we're not talking about speech or fine motor skills at home from the NICU. What kind of things are you working with them?
Yeah, so I mean, some of them have like respiratory issues, some have diagnoses like Down syndrome.
Sure.
There are some have cardiac issues.
Yeah. So
Just like in a way.
it's more of a support when they're that young.
Okay.
And what are the next steps? What are we working for?
Wow.
What do we want to see them doing? And then helping the family with those skills in the home.
Oh my goodness. And to be able to start at that time rather
Yeah.
than wait till they're 3 or 4 years old and you've got to try to backtrack.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, you hear so much that, earlier intervention, obviously, but the earlier they can learn those skills, the better.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, now I will pop over to your Facebook. I got a little ahead of myself there. So early intervention appointments available. Do you want to talk about, I guess we've been talking about it, but you just call, or how do you do that?
Well, the first process is all of our referrals go through Southeast Human Service Center, but we do tell families to call our office so that we can help them through the next steps, what's going to happen, who's going to call them, things like that, so they know exactly what's going to happen and who they need to contact. So anybody can make a referral to Southeast Human Service Center for early intervention.
Okay.
They do an intake, which is just the general information.
Sure.
We are considered a waiver program through the state of North Dakota.
Okay.
That means that their income is not taken into account for any of the services. That's how it's free for them. It doesn't look at any income. With that, they need a case manager at Southeast. So
Okay.
that's the first step. But we work
Okay.
as a team for the whole family.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's incredible. I'm really blown away by the fact that those services are free.
Yes.
Because you do, as a parent, you worry about so many things, and this is one thing that we can bring in experts, all of it, and then we don't have to worry about it so much.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and even just to touch on the experts in our field is, so my background's education, Sydney's occupational therapy, so that also helps at home visits. So if I have a child who has a language delay or a feeding concern, I can bring in different backgrounds as well, because I might not know exactly what they need,
Right.
but we can kind of pull on each other and get each other's backgrounds.
Yeah.
And be able to support that family, because sometimes, we do our best, but obviously our background is different and
right,
our
right.
expertise,
Yep.
and so we can.
And the more you work together, I'm sure
Yeah.
you start to spot things, but you're like,
Yeah,
hey,
yes,
I
exactly.
need your expertise in there.
And
I
families
need
like
yours.
to hear it from the specialist sometimes, and so that's really,
Definitely.
and that's also free, which is really nice. So you don't have to, always go to like an outpatient speech therapist, which we will obviously refer if needed, but
Yeah.
it's nice to just be able to bring them to the home.
Right to the home. Yeah, that is really, really something. So make sure you tell people about this. First of all, is we want people to know, you know, which is why they came on today. Is we just want people in the community to know about the resources that are available, like you said, for the whole family to have success.
Yeah.
You know, those things are a big drain on the rest of the family, the other siblings, everyone.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
that is also part of what we can work on is, because it's a family plan, we can work with siblings if they're having some jealousy. We can help the parents with that kind of stuff.
Wow.
We
Can
do
we
a lot
press
of-
rewind 20 years?
We do a lot of prepping our little ones if there's going to be a new sibling coming home. I've had
That's
several
so
goals
great.
with that to help, you know, because if there's regression, what you can do to help stop that, things like that.
Yeah, especially if it happens to be potty training time.
Oh, yes.
Ooh, that's tough on mom and dad.
That happens so
Yes.
often.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's good to know things are common too. Like,
yes.
okay, this isn't just my kid. Like,
Yes.
this is a common thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for parents who like don't know, obviously we work in child development every day, so we kind of know what's common. But for parents
Right.
who don't, they feel like they are alone when really
Yes.
every 2-year-old is kind of having a very similar
Yep.
behavior pattern, or you know, with the potty training difficulty. Like,
Yeah.
and I think that's a lot of what we do is like we just offer parent support and education to let them know they're kind of not alone, and
It's huge. It
we're
is.
just there
Yeah.
to really give them what they need in their home so they can be successful. So-
Incredible. Wow. Okay, so Pediatric Partners, you can get in touch with them, pediatricpartnersclinic.com. Colleen, I'm just going to say the 800 number too, 1-888-875-5262. And what would be the best way? And just any of those ways, or?
They can call that number and then just ask for Stacy in early intervention.
Okay,
or,
this is Stacy, by the way.
or anybody in the early intervention group. If they're back there, then they can help them with the
Okay.
referral and things like that.
Wow,
Yeah.
you make it really easy.
We try. It's hard for some families to call, so we want to make the
Yeah.
process as simple as possible.
And
for
you're
them.
right. It is, you know, I think of, you know, when people call for therapy or whatever, if that first phone call is difficult or they, you know, they want you to call back or you've got to wait or there's any like, you know, hiccup, it might just kill it right there.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
So
So,
we want it
ask for
simple. We want
Stacy.
just
Yes.
one contact so they can know who they're going to talk to. And I think it's just so important that they know what the next steps are.
It is. So I would like to. What kind of, you know, so if I had incredibly picky eaters, you know, to the point that I'd take them to the doctor, you know, and they were very thin. And I admitted to you guys that my previous life I was a dietitian. So this is embarrassing, you know. They're like, they're at the 12th percentile. If they get down to the 10, we're going to refer you to a dietitian. You just I promise I feed them. But so picky.
Yes.
I didn't honestly realize that was something you could have evaluated.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not necessarily. We won't like evaluate the feeding specifically.
Sure.
Or at
I mean,
the
you don't have a
initial-
magic
at
wand,
the initial
but,
eval,
yeah.
But if that's something that they do qualify for services on, there's
Sure.
different things like as far as like meeting their sensory needs, like
Oh, wow.
different like having parents try different ways presenting the foods. You know, just
Which you
using
don't
something,
know that,
Yeah, as
yeah.
simple as like changing the color of a plate can make kids want
Wow.
to eat. Or,
That's so
you know, just something
interesting.
super simple that parents may just not think about.
Yep.
That we can go in, observe a meal time, and make suggestions while they're actually doing it.
Yes.
Can be super helpful instead
Right.
of just like talking about it,
Right.
not really knowing, and then just saying try this. We can actually go when they're doing these things to try to make it more
And
helpful
try them
for
right there.
the family.
Yeah, because you read articles, you're like, okay, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that, but you don't really know what you're doing.
Exactly. Yep. And then you don't try it again.
And then you don't try it again, and then you just go back to kind of being irritated that they won't eat.
Right. Like Kaylee said, we just want to be a support for the family.
Wow.
So we go try to make, you know, different ways that like they can encourage like the child to have the most
Right.
success.
Because that's no fun for the child either. You know,
Right.
whatever area it is, you know,
Right.
we want them to feel successful. And
Right.
when you're feeling like, oh, I can't help them to do this, I'm sure that it kind of makes them feel like, oh, I'm failing at this again.
Yeah.
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 Right.
Yeah. Oh, so cool. Okay, so early intervention. Do you want to talk? Is there anything, first of all, before I move on, is there anything early intervention that you want to reiterate or that I've forgotten?
The only thing I was going to mention is we do serve 6 counties, so
Oh,
it's not
wow.
just this area. We go up to, and I made a list, so I didn't
Yes,
forget.
you make a list, definitely.
Cass, Steele, Trail, Ransom, Richland, and Sargent counties. So
Okay.
that's Region 5 is what we're called. So we go all over. We travel.
And you travel to all
Yes.
those places. Okay, so all those 6 counties, so that's huge. I mean, that is a huge part of our viewing area too. So yeah, I just would really encourage people to call. You know, be that mother-in-law that tells the daughter-in-law, hey, just call. You know, you can do it in a nice way, I promise.
Yes. Yeah, and like you mentioned earlier when we were talking, like the earlier the better.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of just, getting everything under control before it is too late.
Right.
Because that's obviously what we
So
don't
much
want.
more difficult. Yeah, so much more difficult. Yeah. It is just so important to do that, and then and if you have them evaluated and nope, they're on track,
Yeah.
then yay for you.
Yeah.
Then they at
Exactly.
least have that peace of mind that
Right.
Yes.
everything is fine.
Yes. Yeah, I was shared with you guys. I brought in my son because my oldest, I didn't realize, I just thought was normal, talked a lot and early. So then the next one comes along and I'm like, yikes, I don't know here. And they're like, nope, he's good. You just had an over the top one to begin with. Okay, cool. Now I don't have to worry. You
Right.
can tell mother-in-law everything's fine.
Yes, exactly.
That is
Even
so
if you
good.
do just have speech concerns, when you do come in for an evaluation, we'll look at all areas of development. So we look at fine and gross motor skills, cognition, adaptive behavior, social emotional, look at
Oh.
both receptive and expressive language. So like looking at what they can understand, what they say. Like
Oh,
we'll look at
cool.
it all. And with our evaluation, we'll tell you like the things to look for next. So even if they
Oh,
do score
neat.
fine, we'll kind of lay out the things that they should start doing in the next couple months
Oh,
and then
that's
give
so
some
nice.
suggestions on like how to promote that or how to encourage that. So
Oh, I love
we try
that.
to make our evaluations really parent friendly and detailed for them. So even those kids that don't understand feel like they got something or don't qualify, feel like they got something out of the
Oh,
eval.
definitely. And you just can never get enough info,
Yeah.
when you're a
Right.
new parent. You're
Right.
just kind of starved for like,
Right.
show me how to do this right. you
Right.
know?
So even if kids don't qualify, we try not to leave parents just high and
That's
dry.
awesome.
So
That's awesome. You're good. See ya.
Yes.
So that is amazing. Okay, so that is your early intervention. You obviously do a lot more, and I'm sure we could talk all day.
Yes.
What else would you like to touch on while we're visiting? I'll bring over to the website while we maybe just visit a minute.
Yeah, we are, I forgot to mention our Friday, so starting in
Oh,
January.
yes, thank you.
Every second Friday from January to April, we are going to be having kind of like an open gym at the clinic
Okay.
for early intervention, and we're going to provide screenings as well. So if you don't want to call for an evaluation, that's a great time to bring your child in, and we'll just kind of do
just come.
a screening there while they're playing, and we can let you know if we think they would need a formal evaluation.
Right.
And
So you're all about the kid. I mean, it just
Yeah.
seems so different than maybe what some people have in their head.
Yes.
Like, I'm going to bring my child in this really
Yeah.
clinical situation, and they're going to be tested. And no, it sounds like you just come to them
It's a
at
very
their level.
play-based evaluation.
And so where are you located?
3401 45th Street South.
Oh, perfect. So just just off of 45th and
Yes.
32nd.
Yes, for a nice
Super.
drive.
Yes.
There you go.
Okay. Super easy to find.
Yep.
And so that's every second Friday.
Yes, and we'll have information on our Facebook page,
Okay.
hopefully in the
All
next
right.
month.
And I just wanted to double check. It's Pediatric Partners, but sometimes Facebook page. Nope, same. Pediatric Partners Clinic.
Yep.
Just going to show you that again so you know. Then when you go there, you're like, yep, this is where I'm supposed to be. I know I'm in the right zone. And
And on
then,
the website, it'll go through all of the other services at Pediatric
oh,
Partners.
awesome.
Because we do have mental health, speech, outpatient speech, occupational therapy, and physical therapy. So we have all
Oh,
of those
wow.
services that
Okay.
are listed on there too.
And what ages of children does it go up to?
I think 21.
21, depending on their
wow.
cognitive ability. So
Okay. Okay.
It's all
So.
peds, but yeah.
Yeah, so all the way up to 21. I know when you're 16, you don't want to think you're a ped, but you are.
In the legal sense, yes.
In the legal sense, yes, in the legal sense you are, which just means that that's great because you can be helped at Pediatric Partners. So pediatricpartnersclinic.com. I'm going to show you those services one more time. There's so much that you offer. It's kind of hard to get your hands around all of it. So just wanted to show that one more time. And we've got free screenings, request a screening, the early intervention, all of that information here. Well, ladies, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, thank you for dealing with my earlier technical difficulty. We were supposed to be on in the morning, and these lovely ladies were kind enough to rearrange their schedules. So thank
worked
you.
out good.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
thank you. Pediatric Partners, and I am Jessie Ammett, your host of Valley News Now.